All right, everybody, what's going on? It's Making It Relatable, episode 21, and I've set things up in such a way where my good friend here, and we're going to introduce my friend in just a moment, but and you're probably going to be wondering if you're somebody that has never seen my channel before. This is all of it's going to be new to you, anyways. But if you've been here before, you can be like, "What in the world's going on with this like random dude that's here that's chilling with me?" So we'll talk about that in a second. But also you're going to see that I've put here nicely down in the corner. It says episode 21. Look at that. Look, I'm getting so advanced and it says making it relatable. Although my good friend here can't see that yet, but once this gets posted, you'll see that I posted that up. So kind of cool. Now, first of all, I'm just going to, before I go into anything, I should always, as always, mention, don't subscribe to this channel. Don't bother. There's no point doing that. We don't do that around here. Like every other channel on YouTube, they ask you to subscribe and ask you to comment and all that kind of BS. We're not asking you to do any of that around here. In fact, we're asking you to do the opposite. So I'm getting an agreement nod here. So you know what? We're going to just introduce you right away. So this is Mr. Dan Beverley. Great to have you here. And
good to be here.
Yeah, and Dan is like the most awesome person ever, in my opinion. He has been commenting on all of the videos I put up, been so supportive, been so great, and I figured it just makes sense that if I'm going to have, like, what other channel really does this too, where they have people subscribe and then they're like, you know what, join in and just join in on the content. You know what?
Got your whole viewing audience here right now. Yeah, as a guest on the show.
And that's the other thing is what other channel has their entire viewing audience with them for the content that they're putting up. So awesome to do that. And now in reference to the community of two, where it's clearly now visible what the community of two is, this is it. The whole community is us. So this is cool. And Dan, it's a pleasure to have you here. And is there anything that you want to say? You don't have to, but and by the way, this is all like none of this is scripted. So I don't even know what we're going to really say too much besides the notes that I've taken. But Dan, is there anything you wanted to say or introduce? You don't have to, but is there anything you wanted to say or introduce about yourself before we get going?
Oh,
yeah,
I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah, that's fine. If there isn't anything, it's okay.
I should make the comment I made to you about how important the show was to me.
Oh, okay.
That I shaved and got a haircut.
Yeah. yeah. I like that. Well, you look beautiful, buddy. You look great.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty styled out. I like it, like slicked back, really slicked back. And dude, I mean, that's a man's beard. You got a man's beard.
Yes.
Like, I am impressed. I feel so good about your man's beard that, like, I wouldn't even, like, I'm jealous of it. I'm definitely jealous of it. And I wish that I could grow a beard like that. I really do. But your beard is so good. I feel like it's my beard too.
There you go. Well, we're a community of two.
Yeah, exactly. So we're sharing the beard, even though I'm, you'll wear it, but I'm sharing and I'm partaking in the greatness of it.
Yes.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, that's awesome. And also, you mentioned that, you asked me before we hit record here whether or not it was cool to smoke. And I'm like, yeah, dude, if you want to have a joint, you want to just chill it and smoke a little bit, absolutely. Why not? And you're talking to me about the brand of smokes that you have there.
Hopefully, if anybody's got any kids watching, they can, maybe they should take the kids away, but Jarums.
Jarubs. I never heard of those.
Oh, they're very sweet. Like I told you, they taste like you're smoking Dr. Pepper. And I also, Dr. Pepper is my favorite drink. And I found these about 3 weeks ago at the tobacco store. I was smoking Swisher Sweet Minis.
Oh, wow.
And I still do.
Okay.
But these are, they're really, really good.
Okay.
And good for you.
Right. Good for you. Yeah. They're healthy. Lots of vitamin W.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you're quite the critic. It sounds like you know quite a bit about like what to smoke. I've got a buddy that owns Well, he used to have a shop, and I've talked about him a few times on this, I don't know, show or channel or whatever you want to call this mess of a thing that I'm putting together, and with your help, mind you. So, but he owns a shop, and I talked about him a few times. This is the guy that kind of got messed up. He got shot 3 times in his stomach. Yeah, he's lucky to be alive. And it happened at the shop that he owns and operates here in Toronto. So they closed down all the shops, and they're just doing it like delivery orders. Yeah, when I walked in, I mean, it just blew my mind. I had no clue. I mean, when I was a kid, I smoked, like, even somebody that smokes would go like, okay, dude, like, yeah, you smoke too much. Like, you just gotta chill out, settle down. And I quit a long time ago. I get too paranoid. So, and I didn't realize that there's so many. I mean, I knew there's a lot of different types of marijuana out there, but I didn't realize there's as much as there actually is. And when I walked in, I was just like blown away.
Yeah.
When was the last time you went into? Do they have any marijuana shops around you?
I think the last time I heard they didn't have one in my town, but Rockford, Illinois is 30 miles west of me. They have some there.
Cool.
I've never been to one.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
you can get gummy bears, and you can get for your vapes, you can get CBD drops that you can put in your vape.
Okay.
I mean, I don't vape, but
yeah. But you can get like CBD drops. Okay, that's kind of cool, and you can get like edibles and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
All right.
But I don't know that I don't think we have a marijuana shop in town.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, next time you're into Toronto, we'll take you around, buddy. We'll show you all the marijuana. There's so many here. It's ridiculous. It's like one on every corner. It's like Starbucks. It's insane. So now, I also have, as always, a list of things, and I should open up the list so that way I can make sure I'm keeping track of everything here, of all the stuff that I want to go through. So I figured, you know what? Let's do something fun. Let's do something kind of cool. And as always, I like to share like some of my PUBG clips with everybody, with all the people, with this so many people that watch this channel.
The entire community.
Yeah, the entire community. I want to share my PUBG clips because they're fun. And so I sent you a link. So we'll go on.
Yes.
Actually, this is going to be DayZ first. So we're going to go DayZ first. You can open up link number 1 that I sent you, so you can see it on your end. And I'll let you know when to press play. So I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the game DayZ before, but I'll just sort of give you the basic premise of this game.
Okay.
Definitely, like I would say, probably the most challenging game I've ever played in my whole life. So it's completely open world, which means you can go anywhere in the world. It's very intricate. It's basically a survival game. You spawn on the map in a random spot. You don't know where you are. There's no map. All right. There's no information to tell you about anything where you are. All the signage. So there's signage that tells you like what town you're in as you approach the town, on the edges of the towns, if you can find the signage. And all the signs are in Russian. So that is, unless you speak Russian, that is quite challenging to figure out. Like, you kind of have to learn about the different symbols.
Okay.
But you can get an app that has the map on it. So what you can do is you can look at the signs and then try to figure out, using the map, where you are, and matching, all the symbols that are assigned, matching it with the labels that are on the map. So now, to give you an idea of scale of the whole map, it would easily take you about 3 hours to walk from one side of the map to the other. So, and that's if you're walking straight across. So it's huge, and everything can kill you. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of dystopian environment. So you start off with, like, you're hungry and you're thirsty and you're cold. You've got to find clothing to be able to keep yourself warm. There's so many different types of clothing. The clothing wears out over time. So you got to constantly be replenishing your clothing or repairing the clothing. Like, this is the depth that the game is in. Also, you got to find food. and food is just randomly dispersed. You can walk through an entire town and find absolutely no food. And all the food is, again, like dystopian type of foods that you would think of. So like everything is canned goods or wrapped. You can grow your own food if you find seeds, but then you need to also find a pickaxe. You need to find land that you can grow the food on. You got to find water to be able to water all the seeds. You have to wait for there to be enough sunlight for the food to grow. You have to wait for the food to grow. And then also a lot of times you have to cook the food in order to be able to eat it, right? If it's like pumpkin or something like that. Pumpkin, you grow pumpkin, you have to like find a knife, be able to carve it up. You have to find a fireplace in a house somewhere, or you can build your own fire pit. Like this is the level of depth. It's insane. Now, also, not just can the natural environment kill you, or hunger, or thirst, or being cold. If you get cold, you get sick. Your health reduces. If you get a cut somewhere, it has like a little blood icon. Your blood will drain over time. It's insane. So if you get sick, you have to find medication. So you have to find a hospital that has medication, hopefully in it. Hopefully, and by the time you get there, you might die. Because again, like to walk from one town to the other could take you like at least half an hour, 45 minutes. And in that time, you could be dying. There's also zombies randomly everywhere. There's also animals everywhere, like bears and wolves. It's pretty wild.
And the zombies are the things you got to fight. Is that right?
Zombies you got to fight. And on top of that, it's also player versus player.
Ah.
So there's, a bunch of people that are on the map at any given time, and you have no clue where they are. They could just be hiding out somewhere. Like I've hit on the map sometimes for like a couple hours. You're just sitting in one spot hoping that somebody will walk by to be able to shoot them. If you kill them, you can get all their loot. You can also build yourself a base to hold all your loot. It's insane, dude. This game is insane. So this one clip I'm going to share with you is going to give you a little bit more of an idea of the insanity of this game and the level of difficulty and like the depth of it. I've just given you a tiny, tiny, tiny taste. And also there's no, like, by the way, and amongst all this level of difficulty and intricacy in the game, there's nothing that tells you how, like, what the controls are or what you need to do. You're literally dropped on the map and you just have to like figure out. There's like no indicators anywhere of any sort that will tell you like what you've got to do and when you've got to do it. You just got to kind of figure things out as best as you can on your own with the very limited information you're given. So you don't even know like what the buttons do. You just got to experiment. And then as you're playing, you just end up figuring it out. Like, and then you learn new things as you go. You can also talk to people in the game. So if you're like on the map, there's a button you can push on your controller. You hold it down, you're within a certain vicinity. You can actually speak to each other. And hopefully they're friendly. And you could try to team up and help each other out, if possible. Yeah, there's vehicle. Okay, I got to still go into more depth. You can tell I'm excited about the game.
Yeah.
So like the cars, for instance, like you can travel by vehicle. But okay, so if you find a vehicle, you have to hope that the tires are all intact, that the battery is intact, that there's a spark plug, that it has enough gas, that has enough water in the radiator, that the radiator is even functioning. If all that stuff isn't the case, then you've got to find all those different items wherever they might be on the map, if you get lucky to find them, and then bring them back to the car just to be able to get a car running.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's nuts. Okay, so now we're going to go through the clip. Okay, finally.
All right.
So, yes. Okay, so I am going to get it in front of me. That's not where... Oh, no. Oh, I had all the clips in front of me ready to go, but, obviously they're not ready to go. So that's okay, though. It's all good. So the first clip that we go through, it should look as if you can sort of see a wall and there's a lock in front of me.
I see two hands.
Yeah, two hands. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's good. Okay, great. So let's do this. And now I'm going to go back over here. And we're getting organized. We're just getting organized. That's all we're doing. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and you'll tell me when to click play, right?
Yeah. So let's click play, and then I'll tell you when to stop. All right. Okay. And I'm also going to explain what we're looking at while we're looking.
Click play now?
Yeah. So let's click play now, and then we'll just we'll explain it. So basically, you can see as I'm unlocking a lock. All right.
Yes.
And you can see the dials are listed at the top right as I stop. And I'm going through, and this is an enemy base, by the way, that's locked up with a 4-dial combination lock. So in order to unlock this lock, I basically have to guess the code. And so you can do some simple math, and you can realize that there's 9,999 different combinations of code that you can possibly figure out. So how would you figure out the code? Well, the only possible way to do this is to go one at a time, like literally one number at a time. There's no other way. There's no listening in and making sure that you can determine what the code is. It's just sheer luck. So this is me literally going one number at a time. That's a little explosion you might have just heard. Oh, and then I figured out the code. So now you just guess, just take a little bit of a guess of how long that took me to be able to do that. Take a guess.
So it was not as short as the clip we just saw.
Oh no, that was just me unlocking it. So the clips
at the end.
Yeah, that's just like
that was like the last 20 seconds of you doing it.
Yeah, I think the whole clip was like a minute. I think I record each clip for a minute. So that's a minute. Like once I unlocked it, then I pressed record and it records the last minute of whatever I just did.
Okay.
So as soon as I unlocked it, I'm like, okay, let's record that so I can share it. So guess how long it took for me to be able to figure out the lock code.
Oh, I would think at least an hour.
Yeah, more than that.
I'm just guessing.
More than that. It took 3 hours.
Wow.
3 hours. I'm just sitting there. So this shows you like how much of a life I have, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
This shows you that I basically have no life. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay admitting this. I have no problem with me, saying on YouTube, I have absolutely no life. This is what I decided to do with my life. Instead, I could be doing a lot for 3 hours of my time. I could be doing a lot of different things.
Yes.
But this gave me great satisfaction to know that I was able to figure this out. So now I have access to this enemy's base. They've got tons of stuff in there, tons of equipment, tons of supplies. So now I can get in there any single time that I want and just take a little bit here and there. I could show up with a car, unload everything they have in the base if I want. It's awesome. So I'm pretty excited. And this also limits, like if I need equipment or supplies or food, there's tons of stuff in there. So now that saves me the time and energy of having to like find all the stuff myself.
Yeah. And what's this game called again?
DayZ.
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 And which one do you like better, PUBG or DayZ?
Oh, I guess it depends. That's a good question.
So they're both good. They're
both pretty good. They're both pretty good. Yeah.
And similar but different.
There's some similar. They're made by the same company. So the same company makes it, but they're different. Like PUBG is more interactive. There's a survival element to it, but the games only last about like 30 minutes maximum, 20 to 30 minutes. And with DayZ, there's no winning the game. There's no like winner or loser per se. It's just survival. So you could have a character that, like, as soon as you want to stop playing, I can just sign out and it will keep my character in the spot that I was last in until I sign back in again.
Okay.
And if you end up if you die from the elements or somebody shooting you or whatever, it's not a big deal because you can just spawn back in and you just start all over again. So kind of a hassle, but whatever. And you could find
now there's somebody out there who's lived the longest in the game.
Probably, but there's also multiple servers. There's so many servers. Okay. So like, I don't know that'd be actually interesting to figure out. I'm sure there's like somewhere you could look that up to see who's survived the longest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show you these statistics anywhere. There's like literally...
That person probably has that same good feeling, only more intense than you did when you unlocked the lock.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, totally, 100%. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But let's watch the next clip. So
I think it rolled right into the next one for me. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you might have to just click the link number 2.
Okay, I'll click link 2 and I'll see if it shows me the same one.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
I think it did. Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Well, I mean, the other one rolled right into that one. It just
Oh,
continued,
okay.
and then I hit pause. But now
Okay.
I'm at the very beginning now. I closed the other one,
Okay. Perfect. This is good news. So
and
if
you'll tell me when to hit play.
yeah. And then if you're on the correct clip, it should look like you see it looks like I'm running. You see my shadow in front of me and just
I see a parachute
a parachute, maybe,
out in
but
the middle. I mean, in the middle of the screen, in the clouds, somebody's parachuting. I
uh
don't see any shadow.
okay. Let's see if yeah, because you haven't yeah. That's the right one. Yeah, you've got it. You've
Okay.
got the right one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is of course I'm going to set this up so that way when all the viewers that are on here are watching this, they can easily see what we're seeing. So here we go. We're going to press play in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. So going for a little run, little stroll. Now, at this point, I know that there's a team up on the left, and you can see at the top right, it says 3 people alive. So me and 2 other people. Now, that parachute coming down is a drop. So that's a crate drop where there's like special ammo and armor and stuff. So I see their bike right there. You can see the bike. And then I'm like, okay, so I know pretty much where they're at. I'm the last one alive in my team. In the bottom left, you can see my team is dead except for me. So I'm the last one alive. 3 left, me, 2 other guys. If I can drop them, I can kill them. I win this match. So I'm being shot. So I take cover just in time. So now let's just take a couple shots there. So this guy gets dropped a stack of potatoes. And that's just this last time. So this last guy win the match. And there you go. Just headshotted him. Unbelievable. I mean, if you've never played this game before, it might be difficult to understand how challenging of a shot that is to take on somebody, especially when you can see my health bar is like minimal. Like if I get tapped even a little bit, you blow a little bit of air on me, I'm dead for sure. Lost the match. So pretty intense, heart's beating incredibly fast. The very first time that I played this game, my heart beat so heavily and I didn't realize. I'm just playing and I've got my headphones on and I'm playing the game and super nervous. And I hear this like pounding in my ears. And at first I thought like, what's that sound? Like, what's that weird sound that's in my ears?
Uh-huh.
And I realized that's my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Pretty wild. So love that game. Like, are you much of a gamer? Do you play anything?
I years ago, and I still have it now. I have Tiberian Sun, but I did a lot of Red Alert and
Ooh.
Ages of Empires. And
Ages of
those
Empires.
they're similar to each other, like what you were saying about the DayZ is similar to the other one, but different.
Yeah.
So they're similar, but different, but similar.
Yeah, Age of Empires
But
are like
those
you
were
got to
the only
build a
two I really
whole army up, and you've got to fight other armies, and you got like build a town and gather resources, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Age of Empires is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever do any PV, like any player versus player on Age of Empires, or did you just play
No,
computer?
never did.
Yeah?
Never did on those or anything else really. Maybe Othello or chess or something I might have did with
A little
somebody
chess,
online.
huh?
But what's that?
You play chess?
Well, I can play, but I mean I never really did any games like the ones you're talking about or Ages of Empire. You could play people online, but I never did that.
Right. You never did that. Okay, all right, that's fine, man. Yeah, you know what? Like playing online with people is intense. It's intense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it can be a little bit overwhelming to do something like that for I think a lot of people. Like I know when I first started playing online, I was a little bit kind of reluctant because it can be kind of intimidating, especially if you're playing against people that are like unbelievably good at the game and they just go in and destroy you. So let's watch the last clip together. Let's
And
do
is
that.
that 3, 4, or 5?
So we're going to watch number 3.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay. So number 3, what do you see?
I see a wall with a building behind.
Okay, that should be the right one. That should be the right one.
Yes. A red roof and a blue roof.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's do this, man. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. So you can see myself. You can see me healing myself. Oh yeah. All right. So now, grenade drops on me from this team. Playing with my buddy. You can see him up ahead. Throwing a nade up at. Now I'm throwing this nade. Look at the almost like pretty accurate. Look at that, bang on. I was pretty impressed. So I got that one dude, bang on, which is super hard to do, and just and take him out. And my guy is down, minimal health left. I was really impressed with this kill. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's so hard to do. I get excited about these things because, like, it's tough. Like, it's really hard to do that in these games, is have that level of accuracy with anything. So when I do, I get super pumped about it. I get super excited. So
now, do you the guy that was on your team, do you know him in real life?
No.
Or do you know him through the computer?
Yeah, just know him through the console. So I play Xbox. Yeah, man. So I just know him through console. Like, I can't even remember how. I think we just like matched up, like, because you can randomly match up with people on the game. So I think we just randomly matched up. We played a game together, and he was incredible. This guy was like unbelievable. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna totally play with this guy, like, as much as possible. So yeah, those are the 3 clips I wanted to share, and happy to share my excitement with you, Dan. And I appreciate you taking part in that
entire community.
With the entire community.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's go in and talk about Zia. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've spoken about Zia a few times, but yeah, kind of found out something a little bit unexpected, I guess you could say. And I'm not really sure, like, how to. I think I approached it as best as you possibly can, but you can give me your thoughts. I want your thoughts, Dan, on this. So, so we had like 1 or 2 other video calls. They went pretty well. It was really nice, a little bit of flirting, and just talking about like everyday life sort of stuff. It was great, really enjoyable. Anyways, a couple days ago, I said to her, we should actually meet up for the first time. Like, let's, we've been speaking for about a month. We've had a few video calls. Obviously there's a connection there, and we should meet up and just see if there's more of a, if that connection builds upon itself once we're in person together. Because sometimes it can be totally different, right? You could have video calls and whatever. So anyways, she's like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then we're supposed to actually get together today, just go for a walk or whatever. So she messaged me yesterday saying, I have to tell you something. There's something important that I have to tell you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. What is it? So now, as soon as someone says that, right, the first thing you're going to think in your mind is like, okay, this is going to be pretty serious. Like, why else just say to somebody like, hey, I've got some, like, you would just say it. If it's just a thing to talk about, like, it's no big deal, you would just say it, right?
And you haven't even met yet.
Yeah, we haven't even met yet.
Like before we meet, this is important.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. I mean, without saying the before we meet thing, I mean, obviously this is important to say before we meet, right? That's implied. So, yeah, I'm like, okay. So, of course, I'm going through the different possibilities in my mind of what could be said. And I'm like, I'm all ears. Just let me know. Now, all she wrote was, I'm a T. Yeah. Which, you know what? All good. all good, all good. Like, you know what? Like, there's all kinds of people, right? Some people are whatever they are, and no judgment at all on my end. It's fine. You know, we're all people. Everybody, we're all part of the, you know, same, you know, we breathe the same air, bleed the same blood, all that stuff. So all is good. Now, with that being said, my response was, hey, wish you would have mentioned that in your profile. Second thing that I'm just thinking more internally is like, wow. Like, I mean, there's obviously, I mean, quite obviously, there's been surgery involved. I mean, I haven't seen, obviously, I don't know the length of the surgery at this point. But there's obviously some surgery that has taken place of some sort. Let's just leave it like that. Like, I mean, I don't consider myself to be that out of touch. I mean, you know, to not be able to realize whether or not, you know, I think there are obvious traits of like what our idea, at least, of a man is, and what our idea is of a woman, and what they look like. Those don't necessarily have to be across the board. I'm just sort of, you know, saying that there are general ideas, perhaps, at least that I have. And I mean, she sounds like a woman and looks like this. I should say sounds like my idea of what a woman should sound like, looks like my idea of what a woman should like, would look like. And so I was really surprised. Like, really threw me back. And it's all good. It's all good. So I didn't go into any sort of questions like, you know, I think there'd be like inappropriate questions to ask. I think it just the best thing to do is just sort of, you know, be okay. You know, like I said, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it that you let me know now. And fair enough. Like, I could also understand perhaps that maybe one might want to be in a state of, you know, feeling safe with somebody and comfortable before you divulge certain information. Totally get it. But at the same time, I think that there are certain things that are important just to kind of have out in the open from the get-go, so that you're not wasting your own time too. Because, you know, if she doesn't mention that at first, and somebody's building a sense of attraction to her, and then finds out like a big thing like that, well, then it's like and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what? I'm like, that's not really, like, that won't really work for me for whatever reason. Then she's wasted her time and energy as well. So anyways, that's kind of how I handled it. And it's fine. It's fine. And hey, you know what? She obviously, you know, she went through a transformation. And I mean, I'll tell you this. She looks great. She looks great.
Yeah, you commented that she was an attractive 30-year-old woman.
Yeah. She's very attractive, and they like whatever transpired, however things came to be, you know, I would imagine that she must be quite happy with how things are. I would think, because I mean, she looks great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just not going to work for me. So that's what happened with that.
Yeah. Well, and I think as I'm hearing it, that you mentioned that she could have put it on her profile. It sounds to me like she struck a balance there where she allowed the thing to start, but before you met, she let you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, are there different terms for having gone through the process and not? I mean, yes.
I have no idea.
And I would think that, I mean, I don't know any numbers on this, but I would guess that most heterosexual men or heterosexual women, the majority would respond to that as, well, that's fine, but that's not for me, like
Yeah.
like you did.
Yeah.
Whether there's any judgment or
no. And
not.
yeah, not at all. Like I have friends that are from like all kinds of different backgrounds and religions and belief systems and walks of life. And so it's all good. Like I believe that it's so important actually to have a wide variety of people that you associate with, because it just makes you more well-rounded as a person. So I told Zia, I said, all is good. Hey, and I'm just like, I'm happy we connected. Happy I got to know you. And I'm also interested to know, because I got to know a few things of what's going on in her life. And I said, I'd still like to know that you're doing okay. And, you know, what's happening with you. And, you know, I'd like to let you know some stuff that's happening with me. And I'd still like to keep in touch and be friends if you're cool with that. So, it's fine. I'm not like mad or angry. It was just sort of like surprising. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal.
Well, I was thinking of, I forget her last name, Blair. She was a Trump supporter, trans. I don't think she's had the surgery, but you cannot. I mean, I guess, you know, in the end, I can tell that she's, you know, not quite.
Yeah. That hasn't gone through the complete.
It's real hard with her to, I mean, she looks like a woman.
Right.
And she's your fellow Canadian, Tom McDonald. She was in one of his videos. And at first I didn't even know it was her.
Right. And I guess that's the whole point, right? I mean, I guess it just depends on the person too. Like I think there maybe are, and again, I'm completely ignorant when it comes to this. So if somebody ends up, not that anybody's ever really going to listen to this besides you and I, but if somebody happens to listen to this, just keep in mind that this is coming from a place of recognized complete ignorance. I don't know if there's certain language that's appropriate, not appropriate. So, hey, more than welcome to not comment and let me know if you know what the appropriate way is to you know, use in terms of vocabulary around this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to let me know, and please don't be upset with me. Like granted, I get it, I'm ignorant. I can't know everything in the whole entire world. So I'm happy to be educated. I welcome education. Send in the education by commenting if you would like to educate me. And I'd appreciate it. I will genuinely appreciate it.
What was her name?
Zia.
Yeah. And you're happy to be Zia's friend.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course. And so yeah, like I just thrown back, and I guess there are some instances I would think where somebody who is trans wants it to be maybe a little more obvious that they're trans, and maybe some instances where they want to be as least obvious as possible. So for Zia, I can tell she wants it to be not obvious at all, which it isn't. So not obvious at all, at least not at this point. Maybe if I got to know her more, perhaps depending on the nature of things, it might be more obvious.
It sounds like she would be happy to hear from you if you said, wow, I couldn't even tell. You know,
Yeah.
I told her that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I told her that too. I told him like I had no idea. Like, wow, I'm really surprised. So, yeah, like it's again all good. And now it's, you know, it's like my mom always says: when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah,
and another one has. So I started talking to another woman. Her name is Fabi. Now this is going to be this is going forward. This is going to have to be a question I now have to ask, because I don't trust myself.
I think you can wait.
You know, I don't trust myself. You know, my perception is obviously not that good of these things. So, I won't like flat out ask, because I might be off-putting, but I might just sort of mention that this sort of thing has happened to me before. That's all. And just sort of mention that. Just mention that this
if you get a feeling. You get a feeling. Yeah.
Like if we're talking about like, I'll sort of see if I can lead a conversation towards like, hey, what has it been like for you on some of the dating apps? What are some of the things that have you met anybody like, and then, kind of like work it into the conversation like that. So it's like, well, you know what? There's been a couple of interesting circumstances.
Here's an experience I had.
Here's an experience I had. Exactly. Yeah,
You're not one of those, are you?
Yeah, well,
one of those?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that last part. That'd be funny to say it like that, but I wouldn't say it like that. But I would be like, hey, this is experience I had. Totally cool. But I kind of, thought that it would have been good for her to have mentioned that beforehand, like early on in on her profile, just so that way. And that leaves it open for me to kind of then, allow Fabi to, tell me one way or the other, like, hey, you have nothing to worry about here. I am who I say I am. Right. Or I'm not. And that's fine. Yeah. But, I want to know, it's like anything else. It's not just like the whole tea thing. It's also anything. Like, let's say, on your profile, it didn't list that you had some sort of like very, very, very strict and strong belief in something in particular that had you, that came into your mind every time you were making a decision for your life, something major, then I'd want to know that as well. Like anything that is like makes you, like not just like the little tiny details, because those things you find out with time, but kind of like big things. Like if there's something really big, like, hey, I'm a drug dealer. I think it'd be good to know that like right from the get-go. I don't want to find something like that out later on. Or, hey, I think that Hitler was awesome and he was right. I would want to know that that's your belief system before I get too involved, right? So again, I'm not equating here. But I'm just saying big things, like, hey, okay, here's one that's like maybe not so extreme because I don't want to equate, one thing with the other. But hey, I don't actually live in your city. I live in Singapore. And I've been talking to you and getting to know you and video calling you. Maybe that's something a little bit that I can equate a little bit more to this kind of situation. Like, hey, that's a big thing. I would like to know these big things before I get too involved. Right? Right. I think that's just fair. So we'll see what happens with Fabi. But I have to tell you, in terms of notches, like Fabi is... At least from the pictures, definitely a 10. Easily a 10. She's unbelievable. Like very fit.
And she's talking with you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's been great. So she actually liked my profile. I will never like this is my rule of thumb. I will never like somebody's profile before they've liked my profile. Like I don't actively go on there and like profiles. I don't. If somebody likes my profile, then I get a notification that somebody is like my profile. And then I can see a list of people who've liked my profile. And then I'll decide if I will like them and match with them or not. But I won't do it the other way around. That's just not my style. So I'm interested to see who likes me. And I want to see who's going to like me first before. It's just a sort of a psychological thing, I guess. I think there's a psychological factor of why that's important in my mind. For someone to like you first before you like them. It's kind of silly, a little bit high school mentality, but I think it's ingrained in us. So it's sort of like you approached me before I approached you kind of thing. Yeah. So very flattering. And so I liked her back. Sent her a message like a hello, let's speak sometime next week because this week is crazy busy for me. I have tons of stuff to do. She sent me like a really sarcastic, like that was her first message back to me was like really sarcastic and kind of rude. Yeah. Yeah, which was interesting. So I had two choices. One choice, I could just ignore her and just not bother and just move on. Be like, this chick is just not cool. And just go my way right away. Second choice is I could, kind of put her in her place in a, polite, respectful way. Let her know that there's a boundary and, hey, that's not cool. We don't do that. We don't just unless you've known me for years, you don't just, try to all of a sudden right away be sarcastic with me. No, 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 no. You got to build up to that. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. So, and I guess there's a third choice, and my third choice is just to go along with it. Now, I believe the danger in going with the third choice, the danger with that is that it sort of condones the behavior. It encourages the behavior. And it sets precedent for any sort of relationship that could develop for that kind of behavior. Like that becomes the foundation of a relationship.
Yeah, you called Zia out on something at the beginning too, right?
Yeah. I don't even remember what it was. But I generally find that I have to do that more with women than men. I think with men, there's a natural respect that takes place pretty much instantaneously, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, then you'll push boundaries. You'll see like how far you can take things and push a little bit, but then that at least you have a foundation of friendliness and respect, right? But women are different. I find that women go right away towards, being kind of disrespectful. I think because they see that men have the ability to do that with each other, be like super disrespectful. And so I think that is their way for trying to speak our language. But what they don't realize is it's different. It's different. It's like, if I'm hanging out with a dude, there's always this kind of undertone of like, hey, if I overstep a boundary, you're going to hit me. And it might hurt a lot, and vice versa. But with a woman, that's not the case. Because as a man, you cannot absolutely, even like self-defense is iffy, can't hit a woman. But a woman can hit you, no problem.
Johnny
no
Depp.
Problem. Yeah. Oh yeah, we can go into that whole thing for sure. Oh my god, dude, that's
He pooped
that's
in the
crazy.
bed.
Oh my god, just wild. Can you believe? Just crazy.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. You might have another opinion. I'm sure there's all kinds of other opinions out there, but my opinion is that you have to, not just with women, but anybody, if they're going to kind of get into disrespectful territory right from the get-go without building some rapport with you first, I think it's important to let them know, like, hey, that's not how we do things. That's not how we do things. There are rules. There are lines. Let's not get too comfortable immediately. Let's not get so excited. Let's just lay it back. So I went with option 2, and I confronted her. I basically just said something like, what did I say? Something like, that was kind of rude. And how about you focus on being sexy, and I'll focus on sweeping you off your feet. So that right away, I got a very polite message back. And right away, I got a very respectful message back. And the nature of the communication has been a complete 180 from that. Complete 180. Now, I also like this too, because it lets her know that, hey, I'm not just some beta. I'm not just some dude who's going to like, yeah, you're attractive. You're a 10. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have now some power over me. You're just a girl. And that's all you are. So let's keep it at that level. Let's be real with ourselves. Yeah, you are a girl that's far more attractive than the average girl, but you're still just a girl.
Yeah, and you're just a guy.
And I'm just a guy.
And so if she would have responded negatively to that pushback, then you'd be like, okay, well, I'll look for somebody else.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. Like, I care what you look like, but I also don't care what you look like at the same time. Like, you got to look good, definitely, got to be attracted to you, but that doesn't mean that I'm just going to bend to your will or something and be like, I'll be all googly eyed because you're so attractive. Like, oh, whatever you say, I'll just do. No, that's beta. That's beta stuff. No. It doesn't work that way. Not for this guy. No. I got to alpha it up. I let her know there's rules, and that's it. That's it. So I want to talk about that. I have her number. I said I would call her last night. I did. She got a little tied up. She apologized. I could tell she felt genuinely kind of bad that she wasn't able to answer the phone. She said that we could speak today. She's been sending messages, like a lot of messages, like really communicating very nicely. Good morning.
And her number is local?
And her number's local. Yes,
okay,
her number.
There you go.
And her number's local. I know for sure she's in the city, which is great. So looking forward to seeing what develops, and I will keep you posted, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So now, let's talk about what's going on with work. Yeah. So work has been interesting. So you know that I've been doing this whole podcast thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like you've got 2 or 3 things going.
Yeah. So I've got this whole podcast thing that I'm doing, and I got one on Spotify. I've got the one that I'm building with the law firms, and I was approached actually by one of the law firms that I was talking to some guy at one of the law firms to see if he would speak on the podcast for the Learn Formula podcasts, and he was like, you know what? I actually run all of the continuing education programs at the law firm. Let me speak to my marketing director, because maybe we can take this format and we can use it in the law firm, which would be amazing, because that basically means that I can take what I'm doing and I can now build another whole client base. So I can have sort of Learn Formula and all the stuff I do with Learn Formula, but I can also potentially have this law firm that I do it with as well, which could be huge, which could be absolutely huge. I mean, this is like one of the biggest law firms in the country, easily. They've got offices all over the world. So I don't know if they're the biggest. They're not the biggest in the world, for sure not, but they're like a pretty big firm. So yeah, looking forward to what happens with that. Kind of excited. And if you couldn't tell, I'm excited. So we're going to see what happens.
So it would be like they would take these podcasts that you would do and they would use them for training for their lawyers.
That's 100% right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's 100% right. Yeah, which would be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm very interested to see where that goes. I'll definitely keep you posted with that. On another note, I had a meeting with Learn Formula, and we were discussing like how to move forward together, because they've been really liking my work. They said they've been really liking it a lot. So he told me that he wants me to also take some of the podcasts that I was suggesting, and any other podcasts I suggest that they can't just pay up front for, because that's how the contract works. Like I create the podcasts, I submit them, and they pay for the license to the podcast, and they can just use it however they want. So with the podcasts that I submit that they are like, you know what, we're not so sure about those ones. They're saying now that I can do those, I can put them up on the site, and then they'll create like a revenue split with me on anybody who decides to want to get access to any of those podcasts, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So it gives me another revenue stream with them, and also gives me the ability to basically, just create any content within reason, any content that I want. So that's pretty cool. And you
just interview subject experts on various things.
Yeah,
whether
yeah,
it's accounting or law or
or HR or
real
engineering
estate.
or exactly. Basically anything that requires like continuing education. Yeah. So, but I could also get like, CEOs of some big companies, get them to just talk about like how they came up with the company, how they sell ideas, what their day-to-day life is, whatever it is, and have them discuss all those things, have that podcast I can put up on their site. And then, anybody that wants to purchase that content can do it. And then we'll get a revenue split. So what's pretty interesting from this is we're talking about potential speakers that I could have on. I was talking about that with Learn Formula, and the owner of the company said, well, I actually know somebody who just sold a company. The name of the company is called BitBuy. So I'm not sure if you're into crypto at all, cryptocurrency. So there's a Canadian company called BitBuy, and BitBuy was just bought out. So the guy that bought BitBuy originally bought it for, supposedly from what they were telling me, bought it for like $300,000 and then sold it for over $100 million. That's crazy. So the guy that bought BitBuy, so the guy that owned BitBuy and that sold it, is buddies with the owner of Learn Formula. So he can connect me with him. Be kind of cool to do a podcast with him potentially. And the guy that bought it is Kevin O'Leary.
Wow.
Yeah. Mr. Wonderful himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this gives me a potential connection to him as well, which is pretty cool. So really excited about that opportunity as well. Like if I could get Kevin O'Leary on I don't know if it's possible or if it would ever happen, but I'm just saying there's a potential doorway to that. Maybe. I don't know. Something I'll have to explore, but kind of cool. Kind of cool to know that that's possible. Maybe.
I went to high school with Kevin O'Leary.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, but not the famous one. Oh. Yeah, but I got a friend from high school. I mean, he lives in town here too.
So
he came back to town. His name is Kevin O'Leary, and we've laughed about that.
That's so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the guy that's like? There's a guy. I think he's a comedian. His name is Michael Jordan. I think his name is Michael Jordan, but he doesn't call himself Michael Jordan. He calls him Michael, like with a middle initial, Jordan, to kind of distinguish himself from the actual Michael Jordan. Yeah. So maybe your buddy Kevin O'Leary might need to do that. But it also at the same time is pretty funny. He should just actually call himself Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So that's what's happening with that. And then also, we should talk about this. So I went for a walk with my mom. And why is that interesting? It's not. It's not interesting. Like, big deal. But the last time I went, so my mom and I don't really go for walks together. And I was like, you know what? Let's walk all the way back to my old condo. And that's like a good, I would say, hour and a half walk from where we're at. So got to spend a lot of good time with her, and I'm really happy I got to do that. We get there. My mom has to go to the washroom. And my mom's, she's kind of getting up there. And if she doesn't go to the washroom right away, there could be some trouble. Let's just say there could be some trouble. It's happened before. And let's not go into too many details, but it's not fun. Not fun for anybody. So we get there. It
happened to the president once.
Yeah. So we get there, and to my surprise, for whatever reason, the washrooms, there are no washrooms to use, no public washrooms to use at the condo anymore. They're there. The doors are there. The room is there. The sign is there. It says men, one for women, but they don't allow anybody to use the public washrooms anymore. Yeah. That's weird. That's weird. And they're like, if you want to use the washroom, then you have to go into the change rooms for where the pool area is. But I'm not allowed a key fob to get into any of the amenities because I'm renting out my condo, and that's the rules, which is also really weird that even though I'm an owner, I'm not actually allowed on the premises unless I'm actually like have plans to visit one of the residents that are currently staying there, which I think is also really strange. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. I'm not sure if the washrooms are actually not working or if they're just saying that they're not working because they know they're not living there and they don't want me to use wash. So they're like, oh yeah, use the one in the change rooms, knowing full well that I can't do that because I can't get access to the change rooms, because in order to get access to change rooms, I got to have a key fob.
Yeah.
So I am a bit kind of, bothered by all that. Really bothered by all that. I don't get it. It seems a little bit weird. It seems a little strange, but it is what it is. And so anyways, back to my mom. A little sidetracked with what bothers me, but fine, whatever. Back to my mom. What did my mom do? So, well, like I said, it's about an hour and a half walk back, and she had to hold it the whole way back. And you know what? And I've never said this before, but I am proud of my mom for being able to hold her pee.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of her. She did it. And I think that she should get something for that. I think that there should be a prize. I don't know what it should be. Maybe Depends. I suggested that maybe next time we go for a walk, she should just start wearing some Depends. And I said to maybe make you feel more comfortable, maybe I'll wear some Depends with you.
There you go. You go.
Yeah. I've thought about that.
I mean, I think of just myself. I mean, I guess I'm almost 60, but I mean, even if I was 40 like you, if I had to walk an hour and a half when I got to the point where I had to go, that's a long walk.
It's a long time. Yeah. Even for me, it's a long time. So I'm proud of her. She made it. She did. It's a huge accomplishment. And next time I'm going to make sure she has Depends, and I'm going to wear them with her. And you know what? I might even decide, I'm considering this because a lot of times when I'm in bed and I got to wake up in the middle of the night and I got to go pee, but it's a huge pain in the ass to do that. So I'm thinking maybe I start just wearing some Depends at night. Yeah. So that way I don't even have to get up. Yeah. Because I'm lazy, man. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting up.
You remember that female astronaut?
Which one?
I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know if she tried to kill her boyfriend's wife or something, but I don't know if she actually did it, but she did something where she had to drive for hours, and she used astronaut diapers.
Oh, brilliant.
So that,
I bet those are really good.
Because she had to not stop because she was trying to make it so that her timeline worked out so that she wasn't the...
We have to get some astronaut diapers, suspect. Buddy. Where do they sell those? Can you only get those through NASA?
I don't know. I think that, I mean, she may have used Depends. I don't know. But I know she wore some diapers so that she could cut the time.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So... what you're basically saying is if somebody is getting Depends, they might be a murderer.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you're ever in a store, if you're ever in a store and you see somebody getting Depends, stay very far away from them.
Right.
Keep your distance and maybe call the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to find out if we can get astronaut diapers, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Astronaut diapers must be incredible. I wonder if they're like, there's memory foam to them as well.
I'll bet they're better than Depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. They're probably like really thin, and there's probably like a memory foam sort of feel to them, or maybe there's actual memory foam in them, and probably the pee evaporates.
Yeah.
And I bet you as well that when you pee into them, that not only does it evaporate the pee, and pretty much immediately, but also you get a soft smell of raspberries.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and the reason why it would be raspberries is because supposedly they say that astronauts, when they're in space, the smell of space can sometimes smell like raspberries.
Oh.
Yeah, like cooked raspberries. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I could have also just made that up. It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
possible. I could have totally just made that up,
yeah,
but it could also be something that was said.
yeah,
I don't know. We'll
yeah.
never know. We'll never know.
Somebody, a member of the community might comment and inform us,
Yeah, maybe.
or a new member if we get a new member.
Yeah, we're not getting a new member. It's not
No.
happening. Yeah, it's never
No.
happening. It's just, you got to realize, Dan, it's always going to be just the two of us.
A community of two.
Yeah, it's always going to be that. There's never going to be a third person. Never. I look at the statistics for my YouTube channel. I look at the analytics, and I can see that you and I are the only ones that watch these videos.
Yeah. And you came up in my feed on YouTube, and I forget I was probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I just clicked on it, and you just you're very conversational.
Oh, thank you.
And I watched the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep it up, man. I'll keep it up. Don't you worry. We're going to keep this up as long as we possibly can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? If we can get a third member in here, buddy, I'll buy some Depends.
Yeah.
If we get a third member, if we get a third subscriber, I will buy some.
I'll tell you what. I think I told you my friend wants to start a channel with me.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent you a video of him.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's into making movies and directing and producing and acting, and he does plays and stuff. And that he was trying out the editing of different angles.
Okay.
And so he said some lines this way and then some lines that way.
Okay.
And so he was just practicing.
Yeah.
But he was very excited that I was going to be on your show.
Oh, nice.
For my baptism.
Right.
For
right.
A YouTube channel.
Yeah. Your baptism, or you could, maybe it's a knighting. Maybe it's a night. Maybe you've now been knighted. Yeah. Definitely. I don't know what you've been. I don't know what your title would be.
Now. I'm a YouTuber now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
But we might have him on the show. We could do a
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm telling you, well, you know what? If we get a third subscriber, I will wear Depends. I'll wear Depends on the show.
Yeah. But you'll have pants on too, right?
Nope. No.
Nope. You're gonna
just only Depends. Only Depends. I won't have a t-shirt on. I won't have anything else. Only Depends. And for the whole show, you'll only be able to see my Depends.
Okay. So you want to make sure nobody joins, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the main thing. I want to make sure that for sure, no matter what,
so if
nobody
anybody
subscribes
to see this video, knowing that if they sign up, if they subscribe, the next one is going to be you and Depends. They're not going to subscribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the idea. Because nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see this guy in just Depends. Only see Depends you'll still hear my voice. You'll still hear my voice, and you'll still, we'll do like maybe clips of PUBG and whatever, but all the video content will just be a shot of me wearing Depends the entire time. Yeah. So don't subscribe.
Right.
Basically, don't subscribe. Okay, there was more stuff that I want to talk to, but you know what? I'm going to leave it for next time. But before we finish up, hey, man, what's happening with you and your life? What's going on with you? I always talk about what's going on with me, and I know it's supposed to be the nature of this channel, but we've got you here, and I want to know what's happening with you. If there is anything you want to share, again, I know I'm putting you on the spot. If you'd rather not talk about anything, don't have to. No pressure. But if there is something, hey, man, I'm all ears. I would love to know.
Yeah, I got nothing interesting to share at the moment. Nothing comes to mind, but I mean, if you'll have me again, I'll do this again with you.
That sounds good.
I mean, it doesn't have to be every time. It doesn't have to be the next time. It can be whenever. But this was fun for me. I've never done this before.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm happy to have you here, man. Really happy. And you're more than welcome anytime. So we will have to for sure organize another time. And maybe it'll be the three of us. Me, and your buddy. So
Chris. Yeah,
Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see. But for now, we're going to end this craziness.
I
And
will say you might get some views on this one
yeah,
because when you share it, I'll share it, and I think a lot of my friends will want to. I mean, they might only listen to 5 minutes, but they'll they'll
they'll probably
they'll
listen to
want
like
to
two
see what's
seconds.
Dan like on video.
Yeah, they'll
So
watch for like 2 seconds and they'll be like,
yeah,
"Oh man, Dan is awesome. Dan's awesome, but this other guy, no, we can't watch any more of this. We
well,
gotta go."
hopefully they'll watch to the point where they'll know that if they subscribe, then there will be a video out there of you in Depends, and that'll take care of that.
And that'll take care of that. Then they won't subscribe and they'll be horrified and they won't even ever watch a YouTube video at all. They'll just uninstall YouTube completely.
Yeah,
Yeah, for risk of even seeing a thumbnail of me wearing Depends.
yeah.
All right, man.
All
Awesome.
right.
Awesome to have you here. I'm so excited and looking forward to doing another one at some point for sure. And thank you, Dan, for your time. And hey, thank you to everybody else who is nobody who watches this. So
Right, the whole community. Thank you.
yeah, the whole community. Thank you, whole community. And
Yes.
bye.